Am I the asshole because my kid's ball went into my neighbor's yard? I feel like it'd be hard to mess this one up. Why would you be an asshole for that? I'm sure you'll let me know, though. We have a basketball hoop in our driveway, and my son, 7, loves to play ball. He plays multiple times a week, and although it is never his intention, his ball will occasionally bounce off the backboard and go over the 4-foot-high fence into the neighbor's yard. The fence does not go all the way around, and our previous neighbor always said, feel free to just come grab the ball if it happened. Are you just going to start going in there, even though you got a new neighbor? You clarified, the old neighbor was cool with it. Here we go. Last year, a new neighbor moved in. We introduced ourselves, but outside of that, had little interaction with the new neighbor, as she is rarely outside and hasn't seemed very interested in small talk when she is out. Fair enough. Several months ago, my son's ball went over the fence and he walked over and grabbed it and went back to playing. Neighbor wasn't home at the time. We had never talked to her about going into her yard, so I told him not to go over if it happened again and planned to talk to her about it next time she was out. But didn't see her out for weeks. A month or so later, his ball went over again. Neighbor, female, maybe 30, was out in the front yard working, so I went over and said, hi, our ball went into your backyard. I don't want to interrupt your work. Would you mind if we grabbed it? She responded very angrily, I don't want you or your kids in my yard, ever. She never looked up from what she was doing. I was caught off guard and just mumbled sorry and walked away. The next day, she had a gate put up where the gap was previously. The ball wasn't returned. 2 months later, it happened again, and we can still see the ball in her yard 4 days later. We've also seen her out in her yard, so she has clearly seen it and is choosing not to return. It seems like she'd rather trash the balls than give them back to the child. It says asshole at the top. I wonder if Child Free got a hold of this one. We'll see. We live in it. I'll see people's responses to see who said she was an asshole or the main person was an asshole. I think you should have asked the first time around because you have a new neighbor, but her aggressiveness, questionable. We live in an area with many young children. Nearly everyone is super friendly and kids are always running in and out of yards. She is, of course, entitled to her privacy, and we won't ever enter her yard again. I understand balls going in her yard every couple months could be annoying. We try to keep balls in our own yard, but in a suburb, where houses are on top of each other, a stray one occasionally happens. Her yard is just grass. It's not damaging anything. Tried to understand, am I the asshole here? I have a feeling I'm going to disagree with the top comments on this, but let's see. Move the hoop. You have no right to go in her yard if she doesn't want you there. I mean, that's true, but also, why can't she throw the balls over? 100% agree we don't have a right to go in her yard if she doesn't want us there. My son went in the one time, not realizing the rules were different than they had been with the previous neighbor. As soon as I asked him not to anymore, and he has respected that. That was all before we tried asking her about it. I feel like I'm going to go against the popular opinion here and say that I really don't think this dude's that much of an asshole. He caught, or she, it looks like, caught her kid going over into the neighbor's yard after the new neighbor came and said, whoa, we don't do that. There's a new neighbor there. You can't just do that. So then they asked, and now they're being weird. The Child Free found this one for sure. It's still trespassing if you go into her yard without permission. Can you move your basketball hoops somewhere else? You're supposed to read the story before commenting on it. Please read the third sentence of the paragraph where the OP's son went into the neighbor's yard with it without permission before commenting. But then right after, listen, the kid did it, but then the dad or the mom, whatever, said, hey, I know you don't understand this, but there's a new neighbor there. You need to chill. Kids make mistakes sometimes. What the fuck is going on? He asked permission. The kid only went because he didn't know he wasn't supposed to. Maybe you should read the third sentence of the second paragraph where his kid trespasses without... The kid only went because he didn't know he was supposed to. He wasn't supposed to, I mean. So the 7-year-old went into the backyard once to grab the ball after being allowed to do so for years. The child is 7. How is the guy... Yeah, this is what I'm confused about. I'm reading the third paragraph here, or the third sentence. I read it. I was there. I read that the kid didn't understand that a new neighbor might not be as cool with that. which is why the parent said, hey, the new neighbor might not be cool with that. Jesus. I'm leading everyone sucks here. She is absolutely being a major asshole about it. Thank God, man. Somebody's saying this shit beyond what is warranted. But on the core point, not wanting you or your kids or their balls in her yard, she's well within her rights to draw that line. I think that's fair too. But I think, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to get mad at a kid, like a ball going into, especially if it's just grass. Like if I have a very expensive statue or something, or I have a car back there that they can break. But I don't know. Some people are just like super mega aggressive towards kids, and those like old, like those old movies where like they're like, oh, that's Miss Smith's house, and it was always some witch looking lady. There's a reason why those stories exist, and it's these types of neighbors, because a kid just like knocks a ball into a yard, and that lady acts like that kid is literally Satan. I do lean towards her being the bigger asshole here. Don't get me wrong. It's not legally required to be neighborly, but it is the decent thing to do. Did she buy a place knowing the basketball hoop was right there? She doesn't have to go out of her way to return the ball, but she's definitely a bad communicator. I thought the basketball hoop could be moved. I saw that the OP said that they couldn't find a good place for it, which maybe they really can't, but she's well within her rights to say no and put up a gate, especially after finding out people were entering her yard without permission. Being within your rights doesn't mean you're not an asshole. It's the throwing the balls away that makes her the asshole. She's not even throwing them away, apparently. She's just leaving there. You're the asshole because once she's made it known that she doesn't want anyone coming to her yard, you should be staying out of it. And that means doing your best to make sure the ball stays out of it. It's a kid, man. It's a 7-year-old child. I feel like I could understand that everyone sucks here, but like the kid didn't know any better, and you immediately corrected the behavior by saying, hey, no, we don't do that. There's a new neighbor. And then you went over and you seemed to understand, like, no, like you understand that she said no, but she still doesn't want the kid. So I fail to see how the person that posted this is an asshole. Like, they're questioning how angry this lady is, and I think this is an angry 30-something woman who's just, I don't know, really angry for some reason. But I'm sorry, man. I don't think OP is really an asshole in this situation. It's a 7-year-old kid. You know what I mean? The kid went over there once, you corrected the behavior, and now you've asked her, and she's like strangely aggressive. She responded very angrily. This is when he went, hey, our ball went into your backyard. I don't want to interrupt your work. Would you mind if we grabbed it? And she responded very angrily, I don't want you or your kids in my yard ever. Didn't look up what from what she was doing, just had an attitude. I'm going to be real with her. Like, it's her house, so she's allowed to do what she wants. But I think she's an asshole. I think she's an asshole. And like I said, you can comment like, but she's well within her rights. She is well within her rights to not want a kid or really anybody in her backyard to grab the ball. Well within her rights. But she's definitely an asshole. She's definitely an asshole. Like, let's be real here.